We're back with John Otterson. John, you were with Silicon Valley Bank, and when you first started, what was your position? And now you run the capital department. So where did you start, and how did you get to where you are now?
So I'm one of several partners that are involved in SVB Capital. I'm not running that organization, but I started in the commercial bank as an account officer, junior account officer, and I mentored under an account officer who'd been with the bank for some time and had probably 20 years on me in terms of seniority. And working with that individual, I got to understand how the business model worked, how to develop business, how to source business, and how to maintain those relationships so you kept business. A lot easier to keep a client than it is to find a new one. I spent about 10 years doing that and built the San Diego office for Silicon Valley Bank. And having done that, I was looking for another challenge in my career. Looked around outside, but had the opportunity to join SVB Capital, which is based in Menlo Park, and saw that, again, another great opportunity to work with a fantastic team and leverage a fantastic platform to further my career.
So are you in Silicon Valley or are you in San Diego?
My office is in Menlo Park.
Okay. And then when you guys look for investments, are you waiting for other venture capitalists to come and contact you, or are entrepreneurs coming to you guys direct?
We're fairly proactive about sourcing our deals. What we're looking to do, as I mentioned earlier, is to invest alongside some of the top venture capitalists because they have tremendous networks. They have tremendous capabilities to help give companies lift through their growing cycles. And they have networks to bring in other senior management. They have resources in terms of making connections to customers, other network effects that can help companies grow. So what we're looking to do is to harness those opportunities, and we do that through a number of different activities so that we're proactive. And I'll give you just one example of what we do. By working closely with Silicon Valley Bank, we often get rights to invest in companies before venture capitalists invest in them. And we'll get those rights to invest by helping them with a fairly material project early on in their life. And that right to invest lets us invest in subsequent rounds of financing. So we'll wait until the right venture capital team gets involved in that company.
So it seems like the strategy for the bank is to kind of have a niche market in these high-tech, high-growth startups and then provide whatever ancillary services they can for that.
We are very focused on that market niche. You would see that the preponderance of our revenue comes from serving high-tech companies and life science companies. Those companies are in the life cycle from startup with maybe 1 or 2 employees or entrepreneurs with a business plan to billion-dollar revenue companies. So we're across that gamut.
Okay, so I'm just wanting to clarify. So you're mostly investing in the venture capitalists, their ideas. They're bringing the ideas to you and showing you the ideas, pitching you to also help with the funding of this?
We work very closely with the venture capital community. But in terms of developing rights to invest, we're working with the entrepreneurs and the companies before they come engaged with a particular venture syndicate. So it's not a cut or dry. I mean, there are many paths to how deals come together. But we have tremendous networks across our organization with the entrepreneurial community. We have tremendous networks across our organization with the venture capital community, as well as the professional service provider community that supports this sector as well.
So if you're a entrepreneur today, getting started up, maybe you have some experience and you're kind of going the venture capital route, what are the first steps that you would do?
I would get together with a group of advisors who have some experience. That might be 1, that might be 3, that have some experience with the venture capital community. I would try to get some feedback as to whether this opportunity is something that the venture community is currently interested in. I would want to do some research about which venture funds have a particular expertise in this area so that they can bring value to me. There's plenty of money out there. Money isn't what makes companies fly. It's really the team of people that's around it. So you want to have not only the best team in the management team, but you want to have the best venture syndicate, because that will help. Those 2 top teams is what will drive you towards success. So understanding the venture groups that you're going to approach to talk to, is it a good fit? Do they have some expertise? Do they have some capability that can help your project?
So is it a lot more of a natural process then, where you're putting the advisors together and they eventually introduce you to the venture capitalists, kind of as a warm contact, as opposed to I'm really jacked and ready to go and here I come?
In Silicon Valley, I think it is a fairly natural process, but you've had 30, 40 years of venture capital activity where you've had companies that have built, they've sold, some of those employees have gone on to start new companies. So you have a virtuous cycle where those who have been successful in prior endeavors start to develop networks with the venture community. In other areas outside the valley, it isn't as robust of a venture network, and so you have to be a little more creative. And we've seen that over the last 20 years. San Diego has certainly grown in its capabilities. For example, that's one region that's outside the valley that today has serial entrepreneurs and venture capitalists in market that are funding local deals.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.